Yo, what's up? Today is today's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, today's Tuesday. After Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. Um, I didn't do nothing last week. So boom, we're here. How y'all doing? Hope y'all's weekend was great, fantastico. Um, man, I'm kind of out of the rut, out of the groove, man. I'm out of the groove, trying to get my motivation back to keep doing these things. Cause it's crazy. It's like it's real hard to do them when you really don't get no feedback. Partner of mine, we talk about that all the time, and it's crazy because I've had a couple of people tell me like, man, what's up? You need to get back doing your thing. I'm like, all right, cool. But then when I'm doing it, you don't really hear from nobody, and it's not that I'm doing it to hear accolades or anything like that, but it's always good to at least know that people listening. I'm just not out here dry talking. But that's really even that portion of it ain't even really up to me. It's like, if you go back to, when Jesus was here and he was doing this thing, he even said it that, you know, prophet has no respect in his hometown. It was something like that. I ain't real good with quoting scriptures, but the point's still there. It's like the people that's closest to you, when you step out and you really start to try to walk the walk and you make your mistakes and you really try to correct yourself and encourage them and help them, it ain't really well received because they know what you came from. They know all the dirt that you did. And so they have a certain image of you, and sometimes it's hard for people to let go of that image. So the good thing about it for the messengers, it ain't on us, dog. Only thing we supposed to do is just give the message. If they want to receive it, cool. If they don't, cool. That's between them and God. It ain't got nothing to do with us. So I just gotta push past my own personal feelings and whatnot, and just try my best to keep doing this thing. I've been trying to do it in different ways to try to make it more uh, digestible, understandable. I don't know, just make it more relatable for people. Because I know when I listen and I talk to people, and before years ago, I listen, I talk to people, and I've always been open to listening to people. But sometimes people come across preachy, or my own shortcomings would come about, and I would feel inferior to them because I felt as though they knew more than me because of the way they spoke about certain things. So I don't try to do that here. I just try to be straight, just as regular old me. If you meet me on the block, and this is how I talk, this is how I get down. All my family and friends know that, and for the people that's new, that I'm, starting to come into my life over the last past year or so, I may not be as relaxed right now around them as I am right here, but you give it time, you get to know me. Hey, this is just me, man. I'm gonna keep 1,000. I ain't going, you know. I know that there's a time and a place for everything, so it ain't ever a matter of me faking or anything like that, but sometimes I just let my old hair down, just be me. But got a couple topics here. This video probably gonna be a bit long. Go ahead and let y'all know that if you made it this far, if you want to turn back and go to go to camp, you can. But if you want to go ahead and finish trekking it out with me, come on, let's go. But this one's probably gonna be a bit long. How long? I don't know. But uh, I've been I don't really, well, I was watching TV. I had the news, but my little local channels then went kaput on me, so I don't have no locals no more. But before I lost my digital, my channels, I noticed something about America. and I've actually, this is to me is ironic. Me and a friend of mine, we talked about this years ago, but it's the United States of America. United. But how united are we? I mean, like, from my perspective, we are, it feels very divided. Not only along the racial lines, but many different aspects. It's just like division after division after division after division. And because of that, I think that that's what fuels this funk, this fog in our country, man. It's like we're not united nowhere. The only time we unite is when we catch beef on this land. 911 happened and whoa, everybody came together. But 911 come and gone. 911 is come and gone. So it's like now we back to getting back to our old ways. I mean, you got police against the public. You got red against blue, which is Democrats versus Republicans. You got nationalities, black against white, Americans against Mexicans. I mean, it's all this animosity and we got all this division. And someone had told me a while back, it's like we can, like, I try to be positive. Like, I'm really a very very pessimistic person. Had few people tell me that were close to me, tell me I'm negative, and most time that's what pessimism rides with. They're kind of hand in hand, and I've been trying to work on that, and I mean like really been trying to work on it. And so even when I'm trying to be positive, I still end up. It has a negative tone to it. It's like I would say I just focus on don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. No, but rather than it should really be the other way around, and my focus should be do this, do that, do that. I mean, the don'ts are kind of obvious, but I really didn't pick up on that until someone pointed that out to me, and so I try to work on that, and so I'm try to bring that into this conversation. Also, it's like we can always point out so much of what's wrong with us as a country, uh, but how about we start focusing on what we need to do to fix it instead of constantly pointing out, the president's wrong about this, the president's wrong about that, blah blah blah, or the police they shouldn't do this, the police they shouldn't do that, blah blah blah. All right, what do we have control over? Us, me, you. What do we have control over? We got control over ourselves. So I've always felt that yeah, voting is important. I think the focus is on the wrong voting platform. Um, they make a big issue about voting for the presidency, which is great, but I mean we all kind of know that the president is limited in his what he can do. Um, so just me logically thinking, we need to start at a something closer to us, something that I mean, yes, the taxes and all of that stuff does affect us, but a lot of the everyday laws they come from your school board, your council members, your prosecutors, your local judges. Those are the things that I truly believe that the focus for voting should be on. Your Senate, your representatives, because if you can have your vote be influenced in there, it will work its way up. I mean, There's strength in numbers, no doubt. That's something else I might try to talk about here, but let me knock this out real quick. But yeah, so if we can focus our votes on a local level, I really think that would be a huge difference in our communities that we would directly feel, you know? So if you're able to vote, some of us are, some of us aren't for whatever reason, get out there and vote on your local level. Get your head in the game about, you know what I'm saying, your representatives for the state level, the Senate level, congresswomen, congressmen, your local judge, your local council members, uh your different over your different wards, parishes, your zones, however they do it in your area, man. Find that out and put your head in the game right there. Uh I can't promise nothing, but just something inside of me that tells that would be a huge difference if all communities could lock in and do that. Because then once we put the right people that really represent our communities the way we want to be represented, that gives that's gonna put the right lobbyists in there to go lobby for certain things and get the right bills passed on the bigger federal level. That's just my 2 cents. I ain't nobody, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. Um. Oh yeah, and what I was saying was about us being divided and we focusing on, all the wrongs. So let's just start focusing on the right. Like I said, let's focus on what we can do. I'm gonna speak on something that's probably gonna rub a bunch of people the wrong way. But hey, at the same time, if someone hear this, it might even save their life. Talking about getting stopped by the police, man. I ain't anti-police. I ain't for police. I actually wanted to be a state trooper at one point. I even, put in the paperwork and had my interview and everything. I didn't make it for whatever reasons. I ain't gonna disclose right now. If you're close to me, you can chop it up. I'll tell you. But when you get pulled over, man, like just shut up, straight up, man. If he talking bad to you, you talking bad back is not gonna make the situation any better. If you can have your phone out and record it without holding it in his face, cause that incites things also. Have it out on the cool, But he walk up to the car, have your hands out visible. Don't make no sudden movements. And I can say all of this from experience. I've been pulled over, and I've done, what I'm saying, I've done. I haven't done what I'm advising you to do. I got pulled over, and I was actually getting pulled over for a DUI some years ago. It's over and done with, so I can talk about it. And they pull up. They had lights on me and everything, and I get out the car, and I ain't tripping because I mean I know I'm drunk, but I do the sobriety test, and so I was leaned up against the car. I wasn't doing nothing. They was actually talking to the passenger at that time. And so at that time, I wanted a cigarette, so I just casually reached into the car. I wasn't even thinking about it. And they was like, whoa, 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 what you doing? And I was like, dude, I just want a freaking cigarette. But it wasn't until like a couple years later I was thinking about that whole situation. This is before it really got bad with cops shooting people. I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I really wasn't thinking. Something bad really could have happened because I put myself in their shoes, They pulled me over and I pulled somebody over and I got him against the car. And all of a sudden, he reaches in his car. I don't know if he's carrying. I haven't searched his vehicle yet. So, I mean, when I hear about some of these stories, not all of them, some of them, could have been avoided just by simply adhering to the directions of the officer. Man, dude, it is what it is. I mean, you got pulled over. Should you have got pulled over? I don't know. Get out of it alive, bro. Fight. You can always fight later. Fight later. Not right there at the stop. at the stop is the worst place to try to fight, man. Go ahead and get through with it the best way that you can without any altercation. Go home to your wife, your kids, your daughters. If you're a mom, dad, whatever, whoever you are, get home. Don't sit there and try to argue and fight with the law on the side of the road. They aggravated, they frustrated, they lives on the line too. Everybody needs to go home, man. So let's be a little more wiser about those situations right there. All right, let's switch gears. We don't talk political. We don't talk government. Let's go with something else. I was talking with some friends of mine. We were talking about moving on and healing after breakup. And one thing about breakups, man, it's like um you gotta have a crew. You gotta have a circle. I ain't saying you gotta have a gang of folk, but you need at least one or two people on your team that can help you through this, because we can be our own worst enemy. Sometimes it's a situation that we really need to be done with, and because we have been emotionally attached to that individual, we have the want to run back to them, even though it's not what we should do. And even if it's a situation where there could be some hope for reconciliation, just the trauma and the turmoil of of the disconnect is, man, it's painful, straight up. And you need some folk on your team, you know what I'm saying, to talk to hear you vent some days. I mean, I unfortunately, I had my homeboy, he wasn't here physically with me, but he was heavily accessible via phone, and it helped. It really did. I mean, I can only imagine if I would have had him here to where we could, hey man, what you doing? Hey, yeah, I'm about to come through. Or hey, he hollered at me, what you doing this weekend? Hey, I'm gonna come out there and chill with you. That helps. That helps a lot. So if you going through a breakup, if you got a homegirl, homeboy going through it, man, be there for them, dog. Don't, at the same time, don't pacify them, you know what I'm saying? I know we can get into the woe is me, the pity party. You deserve better. Maybe do, maybe yes, maybe no. But that mindset right there doesn't help anyone grow. You know what I'm saying? Even in a breakup, no matter how bad it is, we need to look back on it and figure out what could I have done better, because we all have a part to play. I know many people ain't gonna agree with what I'm saying, but just hear me out. In every relationship is two people. So therefore, and I'm talking about in general. I ain't talking about in the worst case scenarios where you got that crazy individual that's just wilding out. I'm just talking about, in general, two good wholesome people, God fearing folk, you know what I'm saying, and they just can't seem to see eye to eye. And in those situations, you got two people, and they have to both take responsibility of their actions. One of them may be more wrong than the other, but regardless of it, you got to take responsibility, and your crew can help you do that. And when you do that, that's where your growth is. You know what I'm saying? When you really sit down and you look back upon the things that you said and did, and your homeboy, your homegirl's like, yeah, girl, that was messed up right there. You didn't handle that right. You know what I'm saying? Nah, dog, you shouldn't have did that right there. And you can sit with it, hear what they saying, know that it's coming from a place of love, and you can better receive it. And then moving forward, you can make the changes that you need to make. And see, that rolls me off into my next topic right here. Can't talk. Is that we grow in community and we grow in relationship, and we really cannot correct and check each other unless we are in relationship with that person. And this is from the biblical standpoint, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know how other religions get down, so on and so forth, but I know as Christians, we ought to hold each other accountable. And I see a lot of people on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, social media, just people will post something and then they just kind of bang them over the head with a scripture. that ain't you. That's useless, cuz for real, it's useless. I don't know you. It's like I had a dude do that to me. You know what I'm saying? I had said my little piece about something, and it wasn't 100 what he thought it would be, what it should be in lines with his thought process. So he banged me over the head with a scripture. So I'm like, why you posting? Why you tagging me in this, bro? You know what I'm saying? And he had some comment or whatever. But the thing is, though, I ain't no dude. So I ain't receptive to what he's saying. I ain't saying I think I know everything. But if that had been one of my homeboys that's in the word, then he would have been able to be like, hey, bro, what you just said ain't really 1,000. This is why. We done talked about this and we understand that and this, that, and another. That relationship that my homeboy has with me goes a long way to where he can correct me. But you can't do that with a stranger because a lot of times we are in our emotions. We are in our feelings. And so if I walk up to, you know what I'm saying, Timothy, and I'm trying to tell Timothy what he doing is a sin or not wrong, so on and so forth, I don't know Tim out of nothing. I mean, yeah, yes, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ. You gotta be realistic though. In the realism of it, Tim ain't trying to hear nothing I'm saying. Tim don't know me from Adam. Who is this dude coming up here trying to check me? Now, yeah, later on that night, maybe Tim may have a revelation about something, but in that moment right there, there's going to be some discord between me and Tim. And it's going to take a lot of his willpower and my willpower to be, cordial and kind and all of that crap. But I could have just, long as Tim ain't doing nothing that's really, detrimental and threatening to his life, let Tim do his thing. Go home and pray about it. Maybe if Tim got a homeboy that I know, holler at Tim homeboy. And then let Tim homeboy go holler at him. I mean, my partner always say everything needs to be done decent and in order. And that's all that there is. There's an order to everything. But we always want to just throw scriptures at people. That ain't it, man. We not here to throw scriptures at people. Like, I saw one post, it's like, you are a Christian. You are, what does it say? Behavior, whatever. But we're here to love each other, straight up. That's what it's about. The last two commandments that Jesus gave was to love the Lord with all your heart, and then it says love your neighbor as thyself. That's it. We know what I'm saying? Yeah, once we get into relationship with each other and communion with each other, then all of the things that Paul talked about in his epistles, then that falls into play. But if we not in relationship with each other, I'm not saying that it's null and void. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's a time and a place. So be aware of that. But your focus should be just loving and understanding and being kind to each other. That's where the focus is. And which rolls me back to something else, because it says to love thy neighbor as we love ourselves. A lot of us don't even love ourselves, so how in the world we gonna love on a neighbor? If I have no patience for myself, I ain't gonna have no patience for my neighbor. If I am so OCD and strict with myself, I ain't gonna show no leniency and grace to my neighbor. So it starts at home. It starts with me. I have to love me. I gotta be okay with who I am and what I'm doing in order for me to be okay with Tim doing everything that he's doing. Because just because Tim is out there doing this, that, and another, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he cuss, maybe he drink, maybe he smoke, maybe he fornicate. Okay, that don't mean that he not a believer. It just mean that he just struggling. We will be known by our fruits. And just because somebody is struggling in some areas don't mean that they are expounding in others. I mean, he might be struggling, with drinking or smoking cigarettes, but every time the doors of the church is open, he up in there trying to serve and help, and he might help put the roof on the church for free. So, I mean, we can't be judging each other like that. And so if you judging him, 9 times out of 10, you holding yourself to this high standard that you really can't hold yourself up to. So, like I said, man, we gotta love ourselves so we can love our neighbor. It all rolls back downhill, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, this one's gonna be kind of long. Think I'm about to wrap it up. About done. My mouth is dry. I'm not really liking how this one looks, but it is what it is. I've been trying to put this video up, make it for a few days, and I just couldn't make myself do it, so I'm making myself do it right now. Like I always say, man, it ain't about the likes, it ain't about the subscribers. It's just about helping people. So if you know somebody that can benefit from anything that I said, pass it on, man. Till then, I'll holler at you. Peace.